Good morning, my name is Frank Fortunato. Welcome to CATEX TV. Today is Thursday, August 28th, 2014. You can follow us on Twitter at CATEX TV. Today may be the day, according to military sources and the New York Times reporting just a few minutes ago. Russian troops have indeed crossed the Ukraine border. The Ukrainian president, Pyotr Poroshenko, canceled a trip to Ankara, Turkey to witness the swearing in of President Erdogan. He said that the Russian invasion has begun. Heavy fighting has been reported in the southeastern part of the country. The snap session of the Ukraine Security Council that was called by the Ukraine president indicated that they now have proof beyond any doubt that Russian troops are now directly involved in the fighting. Apparently, this is a long-standing plan by the Russians, according to the Ukrainians, to open up a land corridor between Russia and the Crimean Peninsula, which Russia occupied back in the spring. The Prime Minister of Poland told the Polish parliament that NATO now has concrete proof that Russian troops are in the Ukraine. In a phone call earlier today, the German Chancellor, Angela Merkel, demanded an explanation from President Putin of Russia. And French President Hollande, in a news conference this morning that he called specifically for this purpose, said that Russian incursions into the Ukraine were intolerable. Of course, from a military perspective, there's very little that the West can do unless they're actually interested in getting involved in a large-scale military boots-on-the-ground intervention in eastern Ukraine. Meanwhile, there's something that the Russians continue to do, according to the FBI and the Secret Service. As reported yesterday by Bloomberg, there has been a massive hacking attack, presumably perpetrated by very sophisticated Russian hackers of the U.S. financial system. The report on Bloomberg speculated that the attack, which is instigated by these Russian hackers, might be in possible retaliation against U.S. government-sponsored sanctions against Russia. According to the news article yesterday, security experts are saying that the attack appeared to be far beyond the capability of ordinary criminal hackers. According to the New York Times, JPMorgan Chase and at least 4 other firms were hit. This is with coordinated attacks that may have siphoned off huge amounts of data, including checking and savings account information. JPMorgan spokesperson said that they get cyber attacks nearly every day, and that they have multiple layers of defense. Other than that, the bank did not comment. According to the Wall Street Journal, unnamed sources are saying that the attacks are, quote, a significant breach of corporate computer security. The World Health Organization said this morning that the Ebola outbreak that has ravaged Western Africa could infect 20,000 people before it's over. With 1,552 deaths recorded so far, this means that that number is going to go way up. The organization released a roadmap for trying to stop the rising tide of infections within 6 to 9 months. The new plan of action for the outbreak details just how bad the situation is. 40% of all current infections have occurred within the last 3 weeks, so this is not getting any better at all. Liberia, where international health organizations say the outbreak could be spiraling out of control, is a particular concern. The situation there has seen violent outbreaks between residents and police as police try to quarantine whole areas and villages in order to stem the transmission of the virus. British Petroleum said that their refinery in Whiting, Indiana, their largest facility in the U.S. and the 7th biggest refinery in the U.S. overall, continues to operate today. This is despite a explosion and fire last night that sent a worker to the hospital. The worker was subsequently released. The 413,000 barrel per day refinery was, quote, minimally impacted as a result of the incident, and it continues to produce. BP spent about $4 billion last year to revamp this facility so that it could handle oil coming from the Canadian tar sands. Continental Reinsurance, which is Africa's largest private reinsurer outside of South Africa, saw a fall in profits in the second quarter driven by an adverse claims environment. Continental is based in Lagos, Nigeria. It's rated B+ by AM Best. Their profits fell by about $6.7 million compared with the same quarter last year. Their combined ratio deteriorated from 83% all the way up to 98%, so their claims environment is indeed hitting them. Despite that, they actually saw premium income growth, which is not necessarily a good sign. This means they could be writing business and just taking in premium without necessarily being aware of the potential losses. Their executive was quoted saying that they're still on track to make their numbers for the whole year, and it may well be that their strengthening brand position in the market, i.e. Africa, is in fact providing enough income to come in, and hopefully they're underwriting properly. At 7 o'clock this morning, Hurricane Cristobal passed Bermuda, went by about 260 miles away, a gigantic rainmaker. Bermuda has come very close now to eclipsing the wettest month in August for all of its records. With just a few days left in the month, it's likely that they'll in fact break that record. National Hurricane Service said that the storm boasted sustained winds of about 80 miles per hour. Winds mean waves, and in Bermuda the waves are measuring about 15 feet. It also caused the cruise ships Norwegian Breakaway and Celebrity Summit to cancel scheduled stops in the island. So those two big ships are out somewhere being buffeted about by waves. The earthquake that jolted the Napa Valley last weekend has upended more than just wine barrels and mobile homes. It's also a reminder of how few Californians actually have earthquake insurance. In the last decade, the number of individual homeowners in California taking out earthquake policies dipped about 8%. For businesses, the dip was 29% over the last year. So overall now, only about 10% of California businesses and homeowners with property insurance also carry quake coverage. Homeowners do not have damage from quake cover insurance in their typical homeowners policy. They have to purchase that separately. And according to state law, all homeowners insurers in California have to offer the policy. The problem is that it's not cheap. For an average homeowner, it's about $800 a year, and deductibles can range as high as 15% of the insured value of the home. For businesses, the costs are even more. For a large business, premiums can run about $20,000. So, as a result, many Californians are sitting bare and waiting for the big one to come, so to speak. The interesting thing about earthquake insurance is that for businesses, it covers so-called business interruption. This is the loss of business when a retailer or a business can't operate because of damage done from a quake. According to the California Earthquake Authority, since the Napa Valley earthquake, traffic on their website has jumped to about 6 times the normal traffic. They say that that's normal. Anytime there's an earthquake, even if it's in Japan or Chile, there is a resulting spike in insurance inquiries. Hopefully it'll be more than inquiries and people will actually go ahead and purchase the insurance. It would seem unwise to do otherwise. That's the news for today. We'll keep an eye on the Ukraine. The stock markets are opening flat to down. There's great nervousness that this could finally be the push that Putin has been threatening for quite some time. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.